This conference will now be recorded.
Please stand as we begin with an invocation offered by Pastor Franklin Ward of Evergreen Church. Is he here?
No.
All right, then please remain standing while I do an invocation. Father in heaven, we enter into your gates with thanksgiving and your courts with praise. So I give thanks for your guidance in this session and pray that we work in accordance with your will as an act of praise. You also tell us in this life we will have tribulations, and I ask for your blessings upon and wisdom for this council as we work through difficult decisions. You said to Joshua as he took over from Moses, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and of good courage. Do not be afraid nor dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." I pray that you are with this council wherever we go, and you give us strength, for we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. But guard us and teach us to trust in you with all our hearts and lean not on our own understanding, to acknowledge you in all our ways so that you direct our path and be not wise in our own eyes. You are sovereign in all the world, including Surfside Beach. Let us strive to do your will. In all this, we give thanks and praise. We acknowledge and honor you and your Son, Jesus Christ, our sovereign Lord and Savior, who deserves the glory forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much.
That was a really good prayer.
Thank you. Yeah, I just did that. All right, we are done kibitzing here. We're going to move on to item number 3, motions relating to the agenda. Do we have any motions relating to the agenda? Okay, I have one. I would like to add a verbal report from the administrator to cover the peer mediation payments and also the latest update on the South Ocean Boulevard building project.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a second. Any discussion? All right, then all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Mr. Vincent, we'll just start with that, I think. That'd probably be the best thing. I won't forget it that way.
Okay.
All right, I'm now going to move on to minutes approval from September 24th. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Walsh?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the town council meeting minutes for Tuesday, September 24th as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The minutes are approved. Item number 5, public comments related to the agenda. 5 minutes per speaker. All right, we'll now move into communication. So as I indicated, Mr. Vincent, if you could just give us a brief update on those 2 items, starting with, which one did I say first?
The peer mediation.
Yes, the peer mediation.
Yes, sir. So, Mr. Mayor and members of council, yes, we had our peer mediation. There were a couple outstanding items. There were 2 payments to be made. One was the insurance payment from Hurricane Ian, and the other was the retainage of the project. There was additional information that was required of consensus to the town. We received that approximately a week ago. It was verified by Collins Engineering, and I'm actually going to meet with Zane on Friday. We're going to receive all the closing documents for the pier. So the Hurricane Ian insurance payment was paid a couple weeks ago, and we just recently released the retainage for the project. So we are complete on the project. We've received all the information from consensus, so we're going to close this project officially.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Vincent on this one? All right, so just to clarify, Collins has the documentation. We don't have everything in hand, but Collins does, and we will get that from Collins, but consensus has provided everything we've asked for.
That's correct, and we'll get all those documentations on Friday, this Friday.
Okay. I think for next meeting, it would be good to bring the total cost summary as well,
I'm not gonna ask you to do that off the top of your head, but, I think we'd want to give everybody an idea what the final cost was. Anything else?
Are you sure?
Maybe perhaps against my better judgment, yes. Mr. Vincent, can you now tell us about the South Ocean Boulevard property?
Yes, sir. So we did receive a complaint regarding 1611 South Ocean Boulevard. We also had concerns of council. So we did require the builder to provide an as-built drawing of the building plans. We had our building official from Safe Built to actually review the as-built. His determination was the as-built only included the building, which is what the permit was for, but the pilings were in violation of the setbacks for that property. So the building official put a stop work order on the pilings will have to be removed, and there was no permit issued for the deck and the pool, which can't be built there in the first place.
All right, are there any other questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Stamey?
I have a question. Why didn't we catch that in the beginning when they put the pylons in? Why did we wait till after the fact?
Sammy, I can't answer that. We just missed it. We missed the pilings.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr.
So,
Wallace?
Jerry, it was in the original construction documents that they submitted for their permit. Those pilings were part of that?
The deck and the pool were a part of the survey that was submitted with the building plans, but the permit was issued for only the building, not the deck and the pool.
Any other questions? So if I understand this properly, the builder was told, you're approved for the building. He had a drawing with the deck and pool on it, but he was told he was approved for the building, and then he just went and started building according to his previous drawing.
Right. Ms. Garrison did have a conversation with the builder. He fully understands that the shoreline ordinance, he was in violation of. So we put everything in writing, and not only for that lot, it's going to be the next lot too, because he plans to build on that. We've issued letters on both that the deck and the pool cannot be built on those two properties.
And just to be clear, he's not in violation of state law, and we were told that that's what he checked. He just did not check our ordinances before he submitted.
He
Is that
met all
correct?
the state requirements. Our ordinance is more restrictive.
Okay, so, and, you know, as how we missed it, I guess if you approve a building and somebody starts to do something else, you might not be watching every day. And then when you notice it, you adjust, adapt, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Kinkin.
Did I understand you, they did issue a stop work order,
Yes, sir. It's posted on the pilings.
and it's, so when they move the pilings, they can go back to work, or?
The stop work is really on the pilings. They can continue to work on the building.
Okay,
The building is not under violation.
thank you.
Anything else on the South Ocean Boulevard property? All right, we're now going to move back into item 6A, introduction of new police officers. Chief Davis.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. If it would be the council's pleasure, I would like to introduce three of our newest employees, just to present them to you and let you get to put a face with the name this evening. If I could have, would you gentlemen step up here with me, please? So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you to Sergeant Brett Camp. Sergeant Camp has 40 years of law enforcement experience. He's a certified police officer in South Carolina. He has served with the Florence Police Department, the Florence County Sheriff's Office as a captain of their Criminal Investigations Division. He and I served together when I was at Florence County, and also former chief of police in St. George, South Carolina. So we're happy to have him here. He's just gotten moved here with his young lady, Miss Julie. That's correct. And they're settled very close to the city limits. That's correct. So, so I'd like to just let you folks meet Sergeant. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
It's still freaking me out without the beard, but I'll get over it. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Chevis Ridgway. Jevis has, is it 15 years? 15 years of law enforcement experience. Prior with Sumter County,
Sumter City.
Sumter City, was also with Conway City.
Yes.
And he is a retread. He is coming back to us
Yay.
from before. So thank you. Welcome home.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for returning. Janice's mother and I served together in Horry County, and she is absolutely the finest police officer I've ever worked with. So I'm certain that will be a chip off her block, so. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Chase Odell, who is also a retread with us. Chase has about 5 years of law enforcement. Seven.
Yes, sir.
So see, somebody told me wrong. 7 years of law enforcement experience. He has been with Horry County, Georgetown County, and is also a retread coming back here. So Chase, I will welcome you home.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So, we're excited for you. I would just like to remind the council that it is your efforts that made this happen. So we are appreciative. And we're excited to be looking to hire some more folks. And that'll be coming hopefully very soon. So right now, we're working on trying to find uniforms for coffee. Thank you very much for your time.
All right, thank you very much, Chief. Any questions or comments for Chief?
Yeah, I got a question, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Cole?
How many guys are you missing now? How many officers?
Gonna hire 2 more, and then I'm gonna beg, steal, and plead for maybe a release of 2 Frozens. So we're making some headway. We're excited. We're getting there.
Do you have anybody in mind yet, or?
We're talking with some folks, so some certified folks. We're excited to see the interest that we've gotten from certified people. So thank you again. to you
Mr.
guys.
Mayor, if I could,
Mr. Watts?
what do you attribute that to? Why the revitalization of interest in being here?
I think,
Because we were experiencing such attrition.
well, I do think a change with the salaries has been very helpful. I
Okay.
think that has helped us tremendously. Listening to the council and allowing us through reorganization has made quite an impact. I do.
Good thing.
So,
Anything else?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Strange?
I'd like to thank all 3 of you. Welcome aboard.
thank you, Mr. Stain. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
All right, anything else for the Chief? Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you guys so much.
Good job.
All right, we'll move on to item 6B. I've asked Andy Wolf from the Grand Strand Home Resort. Yeah, I was gonna say that doesn't sound right. Anyway, what is it, Grand Palm?
Grand Palm
Yes.
Resort.
Yeah.
Runs a shuttle. Most of us have probably seen it through the summer, to the beach. They bring a lot of guests here, so I just wanted to hear, he's worked with the parking committee to develop the route and so forth. I just want to hear your take on it this year.
Yeah, I've got a couple prepared remarks that gives me an opportunity to brag on our resort a little bit as well, if you'll indulge me. But, so as the mayor said, I'm Andy Wolf. I'm the general manager at Grand Palms Resort. We're located at 1251 Grand Palms Resort Drive. They're just our front office next to Johnny D's. Just for some background, Grand Palms Resort, formerly Plantation Resort, been around since 1978 under the same ownership all those years. Mixed-use property consisting of 517 condos, primarily time-sharing vacation rentals. So far this year, we've welcomed about 14,500 reservations. With an estimated guest count, we've figured around 45,000 individuals this year so far. We'll see another surge of inbound guests around Thanksgiving and Christmas, which will get us close to about 20,000 reservations for the year, with an estimated guest count of about 65,000 to 70,000 individuals. We're also part of the Champion Autism Networks program. We're certified autism ready, and we've had dozens and dozens just this year, families that have come to visit us just because of that and everything they've heard about Surfside Beach. We've got partnerships with a variety of businesses around Surfside. We try to encourage our guests to stay local during their vacation. The big point here is the shuttle service. So for years, we've shuttled guests to and from Surfside Beach because we're not on the beach. Happy to report that with the guidance of everybody at Surfside Beach Parking Committee and the support of the mayor and Administrator Vincent, we've made adjustments this year to our route. The reopening of the pier helped that a lot. You may be aware that in years past, we've dropped off at 3rd Avenue North. And prior to that, we dropped off at the previous Surfside Pier. This year, we're able to work out a plan that allows us to return drop-off to the highly demanded pier area and avoid residential streets. Naturally, this obviously leads to higher visibility for businesses, higher guest resident satisfaction. Year to date, we're at about 22,000 guests that have taken the shuttles down to the beach, and we'll land at around 35,000 for the year. So pretty exciting numbers. I thought that was good perspectives important. So I wanted to share that, and I'm happy to take a question or two or anybody.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Walls.
Andy, I'm glad you're here. Just a question in general about the business. How are we measuring up to previous years? Are you continuing to grow or?
Great question. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've had our availability has stayed pretty consistent since 22.
Okay.
2021 was our huge surge post-COVID there and coming out of that, but we've stayed pretty consistent. We were down this year compared to last year about 8% overall so far, and number of arrivals. That can account to a few thousand check-ins at the end of the year. So down a little bit. It's pretty strong though. I mean, we've as you see, we've got a partnership with Wyndham recently. They're on our sign now. The resort's still privately owned. Wyndham does all of our sales and marketing. So that helps to kind of curb that lack of demand and marketing visibility.
If I could, one more. Are you part of the Wyndham Share program now?
The timeshare program?
Yeah.
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 So Wyndham owners,
They can swap out.
they have an opportunity to stay at our resort.
Okay. I see that.
That's a big difference for us. Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Coleman.
what time does your shuttle start and what time is your last shuttle to go back?
So in summertime, which that always seems to vary depending on the way holidays fall, Labor Day falls and all that. When summertime, we run from 9 to 5:30, the final return being 5:30 from the beach. We start our first run from the resort at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Has any of you people ever shown an interest that they would like to stop possibly right off of 17 Business in the restaurant area up there?
So we did introduce and we experimented for about 2 full months at the beginning of summer, May and June, a little bit of July, with offering a stop here at what we call the business district on our shuttle maps. And we had a couple dozen guests take us up on that. In most cases, they wanted to go to the beach. We don't run it in the evenings. I would imagine if we ran in the evenings or dinner time and the bars and restaurants that are open in the evenings, I'm sure we'd get more people to take us up on that.
Yeah.
During the day, it's beach time.
Yeah, I was leading up to it. If you ran the shuttle a little bit later, people might have wanted to stop. This way they don't have to take an Uber, they don't bring their car, they can have a couple of adult beverages and not have to worry about it.
That's right.
Another thing you changed, you're not going down Fifth Avenue, which,
Right.
and it's working.
We're going
right?
straight down Surfside
Right,
Drive.
because one of the biggest complaints we've had about the shuttle was going down the residential street, even though Fifth, it's a little bit more busier, it's still all houses, and there was a lot of people upset about
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I've heard no complaints about Surfside Drive, so
Great.
thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Kinkin.
Did the new route work out okay for you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, our shuttle drivers have been doing this for a long time, and their biggest concern was turning left on Surfside Drive from 17, and that was, really quickly, we found out that was gonna be just fine. It's kind of like turning a cruise ship a little bit. We made it work.
Well, I know originally I'd ask you go in the pier and then come out
Right.
somewhere else, but I happened to be down there at 4:20 one afternoon and you had all 4 buses lined up. One was picking up, 3 were waiting, and you couldn't do that if you had come into the pier and to go out the other way.
Yeah, so the way we turn left on Ocean Boulevard,
Right.
and then we come up on Seaside Drive, there in front of River City Cafe. So the right side of the bus, the passenger side of the bus, is there, right there in the gravel lot for River City Cafe. And we do our best to try to stagger these so that we don't have more than 1 or 2 buses down there at a time. Sometimes the way traffic works, we're unable to avoid that, especially if it's storms in the forecast. We got a mad rush of people calling us wanting to come home, so we try.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've already had my two, I'm sorry, I wasn't gonna. But have you experienced any bottlenecks down there? Because we have been doing a lot of prep in a lot of our, buildings and restaurants and so forth up on the pier. Have you heard any complaints about any
The only bottleneck
bottlenecking
is
there?
for us is the shuttle provider. We're turning out of that parking lot there to get back on Ocean Boulevard, the pier parking lot to get back on Ocean Boulevard is a challenge. But the guests, as far as the guests are concerned, they have an excellent experience. We've had nothing but rave reviews about the restaurants and the pier and everything we're doing down there.
Good.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Stamey?
I'd like to know if you discussed more drop-off places and pickup places than just the pier. Is parking committee ever discussed that with you?
Oh, yeah, that was part of the discussions. Logistically, for us to keep track of where people are, and especially in the event we have a storm and we've got a mad rush of running down here to get everybody, we found that was not gonna make a lot of sense for us to scatter people up and down the beach. So for now, and again, we will review this, I'm sure, leading into next year, but for now, the pier drop-off is working best for us. Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Shaw?
as the shuttle bus drops off people, does that shuttle go back to your resort? Because I know, like previous years, I found them around the library.
Yeah, we go back. So we go back to the resort. So we leave the resort on the hour, get down here about 20 minutes after and head back. We don't come back to pick people up until the next hour, top of the hour.
So it seems to me that running Surfside Drive and dropping off at the pier is probably in the town's best interest because, we like your guests to enjoy the beach, but we want them to spend a little money too. So,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's where everything is. So you told me anecdotally that, you had the Divine Dining cups and so forth that you had to clean out of the shuttle.
Yeah, we actually did not, I tried to keep up with a cup count for you, but we did not get an accurate cup count this summer for all the River City Cafe cups that they leave in the bus.
Do you talk to the, and not just the Divine Dining, but the.
Oh, yeah, the hyena, oh, yeah, all three of those guys.
Pams and
Oh,
all
yeah,
that.
oh, yeah. We have there is a demand, people want to go to Neil and Pam's at night, and so far, nighttime shuttle hasn't worked for us, but.
Okay. I mean, there's lunch
The
there
guests
too.
are loving it, oh, yeah. The guests are loving everything down there.
Okay. Anything else for Mr. Wolf? Well, thank you very much. I just want to thank Gary White, who's here, as the parking committee has done the bulk of the work with Mr. Wolf. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
To both of you.
We got.
All right, item 6C, proclamation of Fire Prevention Week. And that will be me. And this is tiny writing. All right, this is proclamation 24-141, Town of Surfside Beach 2024 Fire Prevention Week. Whereas the town of Surfside Beach is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting our state, and whereas fire is a serious public safety concern both locally and nationally, and homes are the locations where people are at greatest risk from fire, and whereas home fires killed more than 2,700 people in the United States in 2022, according to the National Fire Protection Association, and fire departments in the United States responded to 360,000 home fires, and whereas roughly 3 out of 5 fire deaths happen in homes with either no smoke alarms or with no working smoke alarms, and whereas working smoke alarms cut the risk of dying in reported home fires almost in half, and whereas smoke alarms sense smoke well before you can, alerting you to danger in the event of fire in which you may have as little as 2 minutes to escape safely, and whereas the town of Surfside Beach residents should install smoke alarms in every sleeping room, outside each separate sleeping area, and on every level of the home. And whereas the town of Surfside Beach residents will make sure their smoke alarms meet the needs of all their family members, including those with sensory or physical disabilities. And whereas the town of Surfside Beach residents should test smoke alarms at least once a month. Whereas residents who have planned and practiced a home fire escape plan are more prepared and will therefore be more likely to survive a fire. And whereas the town of Surfside Beach first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention and protection education. And whereas the town of Surfside Beach residents are responsive to public education measures and can take personal steps to increase their safety from fire, especially in their homes. And whereas the 2024 Fire Prevention Week theme, Smoke Alarms Make Them Work for You, serves to remind us of the importance of having working smoke alarms in the home. Therefore, I, Robert Kraus, Mayor of Surfside Beach, do hereby proclaim October 6th to 12th, 2024 as Fire Prevention Week throughout this state, and I urge all the people of Surfside Beach to make sure their homes have working smoke alarms and to support the many public safety activities and efforts of Surfside Beach Fire and Emergency Services. Thank you. I need a drink. All right. Thank you very much. We're now going to move into item 6D, overview of fire department operations. Chief Nelson. And I guess before you start, I asked Chief Nelson to come because we've had a discussion about Horry County. I'm sure most of you remember that from a few months ago. So this is kind of the first step in town council reviewing how well the fire department's doing, because we owe a final response to all of you and our decision to Horry County, whether we want to pursue this or we want to stick with our own department. So with that, Chief Nelson, please.
Good evening. The Surfside Fire Department has grown thanks to assistance of the town council and the town. We've added 6 new employees, and we're interviewing an applicant for the fire inspection position this coming Tuesday. We have 3 applicants for that position. We have 9 interior volunteer firefighters, up from 4 previously. We have established a 5-year plan for equipment replacement. With the growth in the career and the volunteer staff, this has made our community safer when responding to a fire. We have heard our citizens saying that they have not seen multiple apparatus out on scenes. This is starting to become the norm. Time is our enemy when fighting fires, as well as medical emergencies. As a department, we are looking at how we can beat that time. We've set standards to be out the door in 2 minutes or less. Being closer to the call is one thing. Being prepared for the emergency is another. For our members to enter a structure fire, we need 2 outside for 2 to go inside a working structure fire, in case there's a problem and 1 or both interior firefighters go down, so that the other 2 have the potential to get them out. Before, we only had 2 members on the apparatus. 1 was the driver and the second was an officer. With staffing changes, we've added 3 on the rescue and 1 on the aerial. This allows us to get 4 personnel on scene quickly and to start to go to work with additional volunteers and mutual aid on their way. It also helps with our ISO points for allowing the aerial to get out, which previously we had issues with. We have started putting together a strategic plan for the department's progression. This will include training, leadership training, as well as equipment replacement, as well as looking at improving our ISO rating. We've implemented a billing program to progress our training by using the funding to assist with the burn building and vehicle extrication pad. We're also looking to bill for fire inspections. This will help pay for the payroll of the second fire inspector. We've added ALS response to all 3 shifts, giving us 1 paramedic on each shift, and with 1 shift having 2 starting next Monday. We've had an interest from our current members able to attend paramedic school. This will allow us to have additional paramedics on each shift. We recently started an EMR class last Monday for the volunteers. This will allow them to have medical training at a lower level. With the training, we have recently had 2 cardiac arrest saves with a positive outcome for the patients to the hospital. We are working to add an additional fire inspector to each shift to take some of the stress off the fire marshal's office. And this will allow for food trucks to be inspected daily, as well as the department to ensure inspections have been completed by food trucks operating at our festivals. We've had several applications for fire inspectors and we'll be interviewing them next week, like I said. During the inspection process, the fire marshal found multiple condos with severe safety issues. It is good that we're finding these before any fatal accidents. This helps keep our town's real estate and vacation spots safer. Stairway failures and panel boxes corroded are just a few of those issues that we've been finding. We're looking to advertise to host public safety education events throughout the coming year at the health fair coming up. Some classes proposed are proper golf cart charging, procedures to avoid fire, CPR, smoke detectors, and a safety plan for escape, just to name a few. We're looking to start the process for the aerial replacement, and it's taken currently anywhere from 2 to 3 years for the replacement. This will allow us to put a gap in between the aerial and the engine, as they are both due to be replaced in the same year. By doing this, we would be able to place a 6-year gap in the purchase between the two apparatus. We've hired a new captain who will be putting together training for our department to include live burns and mutual aid training to improve our ISO scores. Our department has been a big asset in our community through events on the pier, beach, and throughout the town, as well ensuring that residents get CPR training, as well as child safety installation seats, which we pretty much do daily. Our department also assists our community with many residents needing lift assist to public education and smoke detector installs. This is also something that we go out and do at free, no charge, and we're hoping in the future to be able to do a smoke detector blitz where we're going to go through the neighborhoods and install them that day right there for you. Morale has improved among career and volunteer. I've seen an influx in members taking more training as well as in-house training. I've been approached by some volunteers who stated that they appreciated the changes that are being able to respond to calls more frequently. We recently had one member take on aerial ops class and 4 in the county's firefighter 1 class, so that they can be trained to be an interior firefighter. Our members are working great together, as well as with other departments, police department, public works. Our members can assist with town personnel in training to first aid and CPR, which we do regularly with police and some public works. Our department's call volume has increased over the years, and with our station being staffed, I feel we are very well versed in assisting the residents of our town with fire, medical, and other services our community needs, as well as our water rescue and beach capabilities. And just this week, we hired 2 new firefighters, Daniel Gutierrez, and I probably butchered his name and I apologize, and Gabriel Wonders, who started this week and will have 2 weeks on, and then they will go to shift work. And that's in my report.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions for the chief?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Walls?
just help me, chief, so we charged you with 7 new professionals on staff as soon as you could, kind of thing, to get us staffed up. In the interim of doing that, we had attrition of 6.
We have 6 currently that we've added of those 7. We have 1 more to add.
But you lost 6 before, so aren't you net where you were before?
No.
Good. I'm just trying to keep those.
We're ahead.
I want us hopefully to get to where we need to be. You know, we got a big decision to make by the end of December, and I want us to keep.
We are 6 ahead at this time. We just need to hire 1 more, and we'll be at what we are asked for from you guys back at budget time.
With current staff.
Except for the part-time. We have not done anything with part-time right now because I don't have the gear to put them in there. Once I start getting some of the new gear in, then we can start looking at the part-time.
Good to know. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Shaw?
I'm very pleased to see the number of volunteers we have, because this time last year, I don't think we had this number.
We did not.
No, I didn't think so. And another thing I noticed, especially on the news or Facebook, and we're able to assist Horry County now. Right outside our town, sometimes Surfside gets there before Horry County. So I just want you to tell the guys that I truly appreciate everything they do. And thank you for your leadership.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor? Mr. Kinker?
This time last year, Horry County counted on us to deliver. When we did mutual aid, they counted on us to bring 1 truck and 2 people. Is that still the same, or
No.
what are we?
At this time, we can put 3 people on our rescue, and we'll still have 1 in the town on the aerial.
Okay.
And once we get the fire inspector position filled, that person will be a second person on that aerial in the event of a call goes out.
Great, thank you.
Getting there.
Not to mention the volunteers that would come in for that call, man, the second engine too, so, and they've been very great at that.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Coleman?
so the direction we're going is a positive direction, and if we continue in this route and get all, everyone on board that we need, I don't want you to make a determination now, but it looks like we'll probably have a good chance of keeping our fire department. We'll be able to.
I think as long as we continue on the path we're going, I feel that we're very positive that we're gonna have a great outcome. Like I said before, when I got here, we had one apparatus get out if we were lucky. Well, we had one apparatus got out with 2 people on it. Now on it, I'll be honest, most of the time we get 2, maybe 3 apparatus out, sometimes 4. So, you know, we're getting the volunteers to come back and respond, which they weren't allowed to do previously. They were just supposed to come here and man the station floors. That's not what they want to do. They want to fight fire and do calls, and that's what we're going to let them do. They're well trained to do the job, and they assist us, and that's what we want.
So that's what I was gonna bring up. The policy now is, if you're a volunteer, you come, you get to go
Absolutely.
to the call, as long as it's in the town.
Correct.
If you had a big fire somewhere in Horry County, would they be allowed to go too?
They would have to contact the incident commander of that scene and ask them if they would need additional resources, and if they do, they can go. But we would have coverage put in here for us to cover that as well.
Right, so if they didn't go to, say, over to Deerfield, they'd be manning the firehouse just in case something else happened.
Correct. Yep.
And then, in the past, they would respond, the truck was gone already, they would just sit around.
Correct.
Well,
Nobody
doesn't
wants to
seem
do
like-
that.
Who wants to come and sit in the firehouse?
And especially if you're going through all these training hours, to become a firefighter, you know, nobody wants to do that.
Yeah, I mean, to put all those hours in and get all that adrenaline up, get to the firehouse and
Sit.
watch TV.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Stamey?
how many volunteers, I might have missed it when you was giving the, how many volunteers do we have now?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I know we have 5 additional interior firefighters, because that's what I wrote down.
Yeah.
But I believe, I'll give that to you, when I get back to my office. I have a list right there.
I thought I heard you say 9.
I could have.
Oh, that was the, okay,
Yeah, 9
okay.
interior.
And
We did not have 9
The reason I'm
interior.
asking that, I'd like to know where we was at and where we've come to.
Absolutely. I'll make sure. I think I did put out last meeting, but I just didn't, I don't have my paperwork.
Well, might have just.
Nope, I told him
Blew my
the same way, so
But
I'll make sure you get it
Thanks,
tomorrow.
thanks, sir.
Any other questions, comments?
I got one more.
All right, Mr. Coleman?
I told everybody today that we picked up just 2 new firefighters this week and next week. I think probably said it, but
Yeah, we had 2 start this Monday, and we have 2 more starting next Monday, and that will give us our 6 total firefighters that we were gonna add.
now all you're waiting for is
One
fire marshal,
Yep.
fire inspector.
Correct. And that, next Tuesday, we're interviewing for that position. So sometime at the end of the week, we'll be sending out offers for employment. The only thing we'll have left is the part-timers then. And that's once the gear starts rolling in, we'll probably do that. That might take a month or 2 here.
All right, I'll just add that next meeting is our typical department reports. So you'll have other stuff to cover, but I would like, for Mr. Vincent too, to look at November, I think 12th is our first meeting in November, to get a position, a decision paper from you, recommendation of what we should be doing. We owe Horry County an answer before the end of the year, basically. I mean, when we were doing this last year in March, April, it was extremely late, and they did say we need to be earlier this year if we want. So I would like to wrap this up in November if we possibly can. So I'll encourage all of council to be giving a lot of thought to what you want to see and getting with you ahead of time, you know, and just so we get the most complete story we can.
We'll be ready.
We'll be a busy guy.
Yep. Just want to let you know also, we'll be having our open house this coming weekend for the fire department. We'll have a burn simulator here, so you can see what it's like when we burn in there. We'll be doing some public education events and stuff, so please come out. And tomorrow I'll be reading at the library. So I'll have to get braille, but I'll figure it out.
Thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, we'll now move on to, well, there is no business item. Oh, wow, we didn't have any business, as we said. So we are now into item 8, public comments. Are there any public comments?
13-B418, 13th Avenue North. I just want to say that it's amazing the results you get with good leadership. And as I've said through many of these meetings since last year, when we had the elections.
He's asking you to step back a little bit, I guess.
Just, yeah, please, from the mic.
So, as I've said through many of these meetings since last year when we had our elections, I'm just amazed at what our department and police department have done. And I'm sure I speak for many residents here, but it's just fantastic what Chief Nelson and Chief Davis have done for our town. And I just want to say thanks. It's greatly appreciated. And it just feels great to have these forces and to see what they're doing and where they're going. And again, I just want to thank them and thank all of our public service people for the great job that they are obviously doing for our town.
Thank you very much. Are there any other public comments? All right, then we'll move into council comments. You won't have to wait this up to 15. Wow. I'm going to start with Mr. Coleman.
Thanks everybody for coming out. First I want to talk about the police department. We have a very modest chief. Someone asked him why we're getting back on track, and he didn't mention himself and his captain at all. And they were a big, big part of turning this police department around. They looked at the budget and didn't spend one extra cent. Yet got all the police officers about a $10,000 raise. It's great stuff. I mean, that was him and his captain. It wasn't, they gave us the idea and we okayed it. That goes, all kudos goes to those two. It's the way it's supposed to be. And now we have some retreads. Believe it or not, people aren't leaving the police department. They're coming back. Just let that sink in. They're coming back. And you can think about the reason all by yourself. I'm not gonna tell you, but they're coming back. The fire department, I looked into the fire department. There was like 40 volunteers in our fire department. Went down to 4. Did a little switching around, and they're coming back. They're allowed to go and be a firefighter. The policy before this was race to the firehouse, but you're not going out. So I want to thank our fire chief too. Because I used to be a volunteer fireman, and if I got to the firehouse and they told me to sit on the side, I might do it a couple of times, but I'm not coming back. And we're adding firefighters. Driving around with 2 firefighters in a truck is just doing the bare basics. If there was ever a fire in this town, a real fire in this town, we'd lose lives. And there might have been firefighters' lives. We're taking it serious. We're putting extra firefighters in the fire department who are paid. We're bringing back volunteer firefighters. You go out there, you see the fire department out, there's 2 or 3 pieces, sometimes 4 or 5 pieces of apparatus are going to these halls. That's what it's all about. We finally can say we have a fire department. Now, we've always had dedicated people. We've always had people who are willing to risk their lives. But it will be a sad day if 2 people went to a fire and saw somebody hanging out of the window, and backup was at Scipio Lane, and they saw a little kid hang out a window, and they ran in, and God forbid, they got seriously hurt or died because, in my opinion, we were too cheap to hire a couple more people. And that's what we've done. We've hired more people. I just want to thank you all for coming out. Enough of my preaching. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. Mr. Kinkin.
Well, I'm going to echo what Harry just said, because I'm very proud of our police department. They're getting up to staff. And very, very proud of the fire department, because we've come a long way. We did not have a real fire department in name until we started adding people. Now, you all are paying for it. Your taxes went up, and that's why they went up, is so we would have a full-fledged fire department in this town. And we were long overdue to do that. So I want to thank the citizens for pitching in, because it's a team effort. I also want to thank Mrs. Garrison. Of course, she's already left, but that was could have been an ugly scene that she had to handle with the builder. And I'm glad that at least we seem to think we've rounded the corner and are on top of it. And I'm happy to see this many people here. I'm happy it's a short meeting. I hope there's a lot of people listening in. And with that, I'm going to say, see you in 2 weeks, and God bless all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kinkin. Mr. Waltz.
Just wanted to thank everybody for coming out and tuning in. Hopefully there's lots of you listening in and heard all the great comments tonight. I did want to allude to the fact that I never really, and I'm not sure in my conversations with other council members, I won't speak for them, none of us really ever wanted to get rid of our fire department. But there was a situation to where the only reason I would have supported a move to the county is if I did not feel that we could any longer keep our residents safe. And the way we were operating was getting really scary. I was not only afraid for our residents and if something big happened, but also for the firemen that were working, not having enough staff to cover each other. So anyway, having said that, I'm looking forward to, I made under my breath a little comment that Chief Nelson, he was going to be a busy guy for the next month, but we have a lot to know to make an educated decision, and we need to do what's best for our town, whether we like it or not. We need to make sure that our residents are safe. Hopefully it can be with our own fire department, but we're going to lean on you heavily to help us with that, to understand if you feel like we can do the job right where you are, staffing and so forth. So anyway, we're glad you're here, and thanks for everything you're doing. And Chief, thank you very much for all your efforts. I'm glad to hear things are going so well. Some good looking guys, man. Great looking cops.
Very tall.
I know, right? You're gonna have to get some tall and skinny. Anyway, good night. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
All right, thank you, Mr. Walls. Mr. Crutchlow.
Thanks to all listening, and to those sitting at home listening in, and those that are here tonight. My topic tonight is one that is somewhat controversial here in town, and I don't have a lot to say about it, but I believe the town will be addressing this issue during the first quarter of next year, or possibly even before then. The right-of-way and how to deal with it. I'm not going to address what I believe should be done, but I will talk about what our current ordinance and what the South Carolina Department of Transportation has to say about the right-of-way. The town's present code is Chapter 12, Article 2, Section 12-21, obstructions prohibited in town right-of-way. And it states that there should be a clear zone defined as the first 3 feet from the edge of our roadway. Our town ordinances does not appear to address who maintains the right-of-way, such as some other towns and cities do, but the town does mow the parking in most areas of the town about 2 or 3 times a year, maybe more. I may not have got that number right. The properties in town that are bordered by a state highway are expected to have at least a 4-foot clear zone. And that's for a low speed, 25 to 30 miles per hour, and a low volume, less than 700 vehicles a day would be. If it's higher speed or more vehicles, it goes up. So we're not as strict as the state. Like I said earlier, there will probably be a workshop and or an agenda item dealing with the right-of-way in the near future. And I've heard from one of the department heads what I believe is a good solution to the right-of-way issue. But I won't say what it is now, but we'll wait and see what comes when it comes up. I also agree with all the kudos going to our police and fire. We seem to be headed in the right direction. And with that, good night and see you next time.
Thank you, Mr. Kreklaw. I'm going to move to Ms. Shawn.
Well, of course, I'm a big fan of the fire department and the police department. I've been, even when I've been on that side. And it comes down to leadership. And I've seen a huge difference. And we can all sit around and give compliments left and right. But the biggest compliment this past week, and I want to share this especially with the two chiefs, I was in the pool with my granddaughter, and she heard the sirens go, and she stopped, and she says, "Do you know what that means?" And I said, "Would you tell me what it means?" She says, "The good guys are out there." So that's a 7-year-old saying that. The good guys are out there. And I sat and thought a minute thinking, if my 7-year-old feels safer hearing that sirens, and now I see where the police department and the fire department, they're actually waving again, especially when they see the kids playing. I want to say thank you and share that with the people back in the department. That's a huge compliment. The second thing, I hope that when we're saying our prayers tonight, remember Florida, North Carolina, of course. I'm so grateful to see how many people donated stuff and was filling up trucks. Just warmed my heart knowing that I did pick the right town to live in. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm sure like the rest of you, I have relatives up and down the East Coast. Have a good night and be safe.
Thank you, Ms. Shawn. Mr. Stamey.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. I'm gonna join right on and send thanks to both chiefs. But I want to send a special thanks out to John Adair and his team for working this festival this past week. These guys in the grounds department work their behinds off. And I really want to reach out and tell these guys that I appreciate it, because we have a lot of people in town this week and they've done a great job of looking after everything up there. They started way before everybody else started in there on Saturday with the cleanup and putting out trash and putting out tents and getting everything ready for the festival. So I'd like to I hope John's listening or the whole crew's listening. I want to send a special thanks out to them people. They worked hard. With saying that, I want everybody to realize we sat up here and talked about how good our police department and how good our fire department is doing. It's because of you. It's like Mr. Kinkin said. It's because of the people in this town have stepped up and give us some money to work with. It ain't always been that way. It's always been that they didn't want nobody to have to raise nobody's taxes. That was the big deal. Nobody wants their taxes raised. They don't want. So the town run on a minimum budget is what money we had. That 4 meals that we got this year was not enough. Believe me, it ain't enough, but it helps. And I want everyone to know that I appreciate of the stepping up, and the people that I met with before this tax increase, I went to people's homes and talked to them about this fire department, and how we were gonna fund it. And they stepped up. These people told me at these meetings I would go to, that they didn't mind paying as long as they got good protection and good police departments. But believe me, y'all, it ain't over. As your chief just told you, if you listened earlier, these 2 people frozen right now. Do you know how much salary them 2 people cost us? Somebody's got to pay for it. And it's going to be you people, if that's what you want. It ain't going to be because of this council or the council previous or the previous council coming. It takes money. It takes a lot of money to run this town. And I don't think a lot of people realize that until it comes down to a necessary problem. And we had a problem in this fire department. And when it was brought to us that this was a dire need, that it put people's lives in risk, believe me, I would have went to Horry County in a minute if it affected anybody in this town. I don't want nobody to leave this, I don't want to be, somebody get hurt. I would have voted to put Horry County in charge of this fire department. But as it's going right now, we're doing great, y'all, believe me. With saying that, everybody have a good night.
All right, thank you, Mr. Stamey. Yeah, I'm going to start with public safety too, and that was actually the point that I was thinking of is I know the administration is already beginning the preliminary work on budgets, and police and fire are particularly competitive areas, departments, functions in Horry County and Georgetown County in the surrounding area. So we will have to stay on our toes, and we're going to need the continued leadership. And we may have to look at something again next year. I would hope not, but if we have to, we have to. But it is good news. Public Works does a great job always, and if you didn't see it, they've already begun working on the Harrison Park upfit. The fountain's in today, and they're going to be doing pavers soon and so forth. And KSBB is setting up the volunteer day that'll be in November, and the ribbon cutting that we'll do in December. So we're really looking forward to that. And of course, as I say, Public Works is a huge part of that. On a different subject, the day after tomorrow, Thursday, we have a hearing, a business license hearing. You probably heard that Delta Dispensary's business license was suspended, and we're going to have a hearing for a permanent revocation. And I just want to, I mean, this is small town government doing what it has to do. It's serious business. This is somebody's business is at risk, and we have to take that seriously. Of course, we have to take the charges that were leveled against the business seriously as well too. The town's culture, image, public safety are at stake, as well as the gentleman's business. So the hearing is going to focus on the evidence provided by our police department. Our town attorney will be leading that, and we will be sitting here to make a determination on it. It is a public hearing. If you want to see the way your town government should be working, feel free to come in Thursday at 3:30 and witness that for yourselves. With that, I just want to say thanks to everybody who's attended. We did end early. I'm trying to work with the administration and balance these things out. When we do the department reports, we get a lot of input, a lot of questions, and it's probably not good to do committee recommendations on the same time. So, but it was too late to get anything in here. I already know that Mr. White is going to be here in November with some information from the parking committee, and we're going to be doing the first meetings mostly with that committee and other business, and trying to keep mostly the department reports in the second meeting of the month. But when business comes up, we got to deal with it. With that, I'll conclude, say thank you once again, and hope to see you Thursday, and definitely in 2 weeks for our next meeting. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we adjourn.
Negative.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.
You need to deep big like this.
Well,
Yeah.